All right, stamp of approval episode 7. I cannot quite believe we've made it 7 whole weeks already. It feels like just yesterday we started. So tonight is a very special episode. A very exciting episode too, because it's not just going to be me yapping the whole time. We actually have a guest on tonight. So I said before, obviously I started the recording, but our guest tonight is she, or Pinku Idol. She is a Twitch streamer, but she's also, this is very cool, she's also a licensed manicurist. So I found out about her stream from another mutual friend whose stream I found named Wood, or Josh. And our style of content is pretty different, I'm not going to lie, but these days I find it extremely interesting how diversified the content scope is on Twitch. You know, whereas mine is a little bit chaotic, a little bit loud, hers is very laid back and almost ASMR, sort of. You know, she does nail art streams, and she also plays some retro N64 games and a lot of Osu. She's a big Osu fan. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and give her a call and get this started. Now, hopefully, if I've set everything up correctly, this scene should just work. It probably won't, but we'll see.
What's up?
What's up? Are you guys able to hear?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and get this full screen, and I will get this shared up here.
Okay, awesome. Whoa. All right. How can I? There we go. Perfect. Yay!
Right, let's see. Boom. Oh, okay. So it's focusing on you right now, but there should be a way that I can just show. There we go. Exactly. There we go. All right. Sick.
Right.
So we are good to go. And welcome on. I appreciate you coming on. And, you know, this kind of worked out perfect schedule-wise for us as well. So couldn't have asked for better timing.
Yes. No, because I'm actually leaving on a trip to Colorado tomorrow. So I will be like out of town. So this, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, actually,
thank you.
Yeah, I heard Josh talk about how you guys were going to get together and hang out. So I thought that was really cool. So,
No, I'm excited.
Yeah, we also, actually, is Colorado like buried under snow right now, or are they one of the states that actually avoided all that mess?
I don't think so. I think that it was like really fast cold snap, but not so much snow. I think typically in Denver, they don't get much actual like snowfall. I think maybe like other places in Colorado, but yeah, I don't think so. I think it should be fine. I think we should be good.
Yeah, usually just the mountaintops, even in the middle of damn summer. It's crazy over there, but
Oh yeah, for
I'm
sure.
I'm on the East Coast, so these days you never know what season you're going to experience from day to day. Could be buried under snow one day and then 50 and tornado warnings the next, so we don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, similarly to Texas, but just no snow.
Yeah.
It's very insane weather.
All right. So we
Yeah.
kind of had a little bit of a run of show that we talked about, just kind of different topics that we wanted to run through. But like I was mentioning before you came on, I was actually saying, you know, you also stream. You stream a lot of different things than I do. You listen to a lot of different music than I do. To my enjoyment, because my title playlist has been growing like crazy here lately.
Okay, good. Perfect. I'm glad.
Yeah, I've been, my Apple Music is so confused because it's full of Doja Cat. It's like, who the hell? Like this dude that usually listens to black metal and whatnot is now listening to this. What is this? So
It's good to expand your palette.
Yeah, house music. You know, I used to be super into house music as well, but it was mainly like normie stuff like Daft Punk and all that. So,
Well, you know, you gotta get to the top level before you start getting lower down.
Yeah, you gotta break through the normie stuff before you start to get to the iceberg. We're just on the tip right now.
Right.
All right. So one of the things I actually have been meaning to ask you about, but I wanted to save it for this conversation because it was something, you know, we've kind of gone over some of the things that we wanted to talk about. But the first thing I wanted to ask you about, because, you know, I don't usually know. I always, when I find people's streams, I just see them as they are now, but you never really see sort of, not even necessarily the come up, but you never see like what they started out streaming, what their quality used to be like, and what got them interested in it in the first place? Was it a mutual friend that you knew that was like, hey, check out this website? Or how did you first learn about Twitch?
Um, I learned about Twitch from Legend of Zelda speedrunning. I
Same.
had an ex-boyfriend. That is so funny. I had
Yeah.
an ex-boyfriend that he was really into it. And I was like, yo, this is actually really dope. I thought like the tricks that people pull off and just like manipulating the game into like glitching into weird ways was just like so cool to watch. And like, I don't know, from there I was like, I forget the dude. I was like, I'm gonna watch this on my own, like
Yeah.
on my own time. I would love to watch it. I'd watch people like Enop, ZFG. Um, there was somebody else, but there's a ton of people that do speed running, but definitely like those two for sure. Because Twilight Princess, oh, Fino too. Fino,
Yep.
he was
Fido the
great.
Mino.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, all those people.
Yeah, very super similar for me. I found out about Swordless Link was the first person I ever saw who had a Justin TV link in a YouTube video, and it was like
Yes.
some really old like any percent Ocarina of Time thing before the super quick like 30-minute strats were discovered. And then from that, I found like Siglemic, the Super Mario 64 runner, Enop Majora's Mask. He was like the goat, and I think he still does stream every now and
Oh,
then.
yeah. Oh, I hope so. I haven't seen in so long.
Yeah, this was so long ago that like my account was established in February of 2011. Twitch didn't even exist yet. It was just a
That's
skin
what I was
for the
about to
gaming directory.
say. Yeah. Oh, how funny. Yeah, back like literally 10 plus years ago at
Yeah.
this point.
Oh dear God. God, I'm so old. But yeah, and it's like speedrunning, it's funny because speedrunning has pretty much stayed like maintained popularity. A lot of the same people may not be around still running, but like Resident Evil speedrunning is crazy popular nowadays. Like Distortion 2, Maxi Lobes, and Eternal Enigma, these guys that speedrun horror games, like they are popping off right now. And it's really cool to see that hobby kind of maintained, even if all the people who established it aren't.
No, I mean, I feel like it's fun to see, even as someone that like I never played through Majora's Mask as a child or anything, or I haven't even really played through a lot of Resident Evil games myself, but it's just so impressive to see people break the game
Yeah. To push
and
the boundaries of
manipulate
it.
it in such odd
Yeah.
ways. Right, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's also cool with Twitch too, because they actually Justin TV was kept around as sort of the IRL, counterpart to it. But then eventually they just decided to merge the two because everybody was on Twitch anyway. So gaming actually it split the whole formula. It split the whole formula for the website. And then after everything split, they just decided, well, everybody's over here anyway, so let's just let them IRL stream. Like it used to be a thing where if you weren't playing a video game for 30 minutes or longer, someone would come in and shut your stream down. Like they would just shut it off. It's like, you can't be doing this.
What?
Yeah. Some people like,
Okay, I was not on Just on TV that much, but dang, that's real strict.
yeah, the strat back then was that everybody would download League of Legends and they would just click around in the spawn. And that's what people would do. It's like, well, there's a video game on. It's a free to play game. And I'm basically doing just chatting, but there is a video game up and I am clicking.
Well,
Yeah, it was so
fair
dumb back
enough.
then. And then something else,
What a funny way.
yes, I mean, it's like, it's funny because it's a very small world. You hear a lot of people that are into speedrunning, but then when you hear the names pop up, it's like, oh, wow, that era of speedrunning, decade ago type stuff.
Dude, we might have been in the chat at the
Uh,
same time.
it's super likely
All
because,
those years ago.
yeah, Siglemic, this dude, I used to live in that dude's stream. I had that stuff up 24/7, but for your stream, which was actually kind of
Yeah, I would
what.
fall asleep to that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And he used to do. He was actually one of the first guys I remembered to do 24-hour streams, and he would do charity stuff too. So like you, back then, if you even had 24-hour stream in your title, that would just like be an instant growth. Like everybody would be like, "Oh my God, this guy is live for a full 24 hours." It was like a feat of endurance back then. But nowadays, it's like whatever. XQC does 20-hour streams 4 times a week. It's not even that big of a deal anymore.
That's such a scary concept to me because 24 hours is still like, what the hell? To
Yeah.
me, at least, to me. I know that a lot of people, they manage to get it done, but to me, I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine streaming for 24 hours straight.
Yeah, and so many people look at it and it's like, oh, you just sit and play video games. It's so easy. It's like, no, there's a lot of factors. You have to maintain energy. You have to be entertaining. You can't be boring for even 5 minutes. You can't even take breaks as frequently as you would like because everybody's like, oh,
Oh
there's no
my god,
content.
no.
See ya.
Like, God forbid that you get up and go to the toilet.
Yeah. 5 people are like, fuck this. This guy obviously doesn't care, so I'm out.
Twitch
So,
be like,
yeah. I mean, pretty much, I think lurking is cool. Lurking is actually kind of a sign of respect. But in terms of your stream, do you think, you know, I know that a lot of people stream a lot, but what is it that actually keeps you coming back to continually do it? Is it is it that you enjoy sharing the games with people, or is there something else to it?
I mean, yeah, I think for me too, like it's a really big like social like thing for me, more so than like playing the game. I mean, playing the game, of course, like is really fun. I like, at least lately, I've been playing a lot of Osu, which to me, I feel people are always in my chat talking about like, "Whoa, that you're so good at this," and I'm like, "Dude, you have yet to see the like real pros at this." Like me being able to like pull off a hard map, like cool, great, but there are people who are like insanely good. So it's just honestly, it's fun to like, yeah, I'm good at this game. Yeah. But at the same time, to be able to like talk to my friends and like catch up with people, or like in your stream too, where you'll be playing Silent Hill and we'll be talking about like popcorn in the chat. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? So it's a fun thing to like, I don't know. It brings together people that would normally never be together otherwise. So that's why I love to I keep coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really good summation of like there's a lot of communities that learn about each other, I think through Twitch, and that's what I love so much. I think the greatest feature they've ever implemented is rating. Cuz with rating,
Yeah.
you could have someone who's like an Overwatch pro rating like an IRL fishing streamer. Like it's the most night and day communities and they just collide and it's
Yeah.
like I never would have met all these people. Like, that's kind of how we met in a sense because I had a viewer who recommended Josh raid me out of nowhere. I had no idea who he was. I didn't know that the viewer was doing this. And I was playing Metal Gear Solid. I wasn't even playing a horror game, which is like my thing. And
I
then
know, right?
yeah, and then you guys came from there. So it's cool that like all these small niche communities can just collide through rating. So I do think
I know.
that's a
It's
really
so
unique
good.
aspect of Twitch.
I think so too. There's really nothing like that on any other social media at all, where you are like actively, let's go share communities between each other at all. Now that you say that, that is very unique to Twitch.
Yeah, and it's weird. They got rid of hosting. They got rid of hosting and they got rid of channel moments.
Right.
Like hosting was so cool because if I check someone's stream out and they're not live, they usually would recommend someone who's like a friend of theirs or someone who does similar content. So like I could still discover new people that way. And Twitch is very lacking in discoverability. So it sucks that they took that away, but I guess it was just because nobody was really using it the way that they thought they would.
I guess you're right. I feel like I mean they still have where you're like recommended channels that it will play like really tiny little thumbnail when you go to their page of whoever's their recommended, but I remember when Twitch had hosting and it would be like as if you were live.
Yeah.
A huge big screen of whatever they were doing, and yeah, they don't have that anymore, which is like so, it's such a bummer now that you remind me that they took it away.
Well, I mean, Twitch is very wishy washy with their policies nowadays. It feels like they'll implement a policy and be like, oh, wow, that was a disaster. Like, we don't even need to talk about it. But the artistic nudity thing, I feel like that just was a slippery slope. And they said, fuck it, we're just going to slide all the way down and see what happens. And then they were like, oh, yikes. Okay, well, we're just going to roll
I
that
think it's
back.
funny though that you bring that up because about 3 years ago, I got banned for 3 days for having sexual content on my stream. But it was just like, okay, given, yes, it was pretty sexual artwork, but it was just a girl in a bikini. And I
Yeah.
got banned for 3 days. And I was just like, seeing, the clip, the famous clip that
Yeah.
we all have seen, I was just like, "Is this what we're allowing now?" And I got banned for, like, art, a drawing?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, Twitch is crazy, you're so right. You're so right.
Meanwhile, people do like body painting streams where they are virtually nude. Like there's literally a layer of paint, but you see everything. And that's cool because it fits under some weird like loophole criteria. It's like the hot tub thing. That was a loophole that people were exploiting, and they let it go on for months and months and months before they finally said, okay, let's take away the advertisements and let's put them in their own, hot tubs,
You
beaches,
guys
and
get your
whatever.
own little
Yeah.
yeah.
You guys all hang out together and figure that stuff out for yourself. But again, kind of in that same vein, like a big topic that we usually talk about, and something that I don't know if you've ever dealt with this, and feel free to let me know if you'd rather not get into it. But is there any sort of parasocial issue that you've ever run into, either on Twitch or on the internet at large? And if so, like what do you think is a good strategy going forward to kind of handle that type of person?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm turning 27 this weekend, so and I've been on the internet since I was, like, 12, 13 years old, so I've been around, okay? I think, like, the most, like, intense thing that I've ever experienced was on Twitter of, like, people, like, just by from what my dumb 13-year-old mind is posting, figuring out, like, where I live, where I go to school, this,
Yeah.
that, and the other. So, I got a huge wake-up call from that of like, girl, not everybody here is your friend. This is a dangerous thing to be playing with. Don't don't play around. And so, especially when it comes to Twitch, I love banning people. I don't know. I don't know what it is about doing it, but I love banning them. It's the best. I don't know. I feel like that is my biggest thing is like don't be afraid to like if somebody's being gross or weird or annoying or you just even simply get a bad vibe from them, like just immediately ban. I'm like, "You're gone," because like I said, I've learned my lesson once. I don't need to learn it again, and I'm glad that as far as on Twitch, I've never had any, like, weird experiences. Um, as far as, like, people trying to, like, "Oh, you're my best friend," and I'm like, "I don't know you, you don't
Yeah.
know me, you see me through a little box on your screen."
You're literally a
I
name in
haven't
my
really had
chat.
anything like that happen to me. Literally, bro,
Yeah.
literally. So I haven't had that experience yet. So I know that it happens and I know that it happens a lot, but it's like to me, I feel like what vibe that you put out hopefully is what you get back. And so what I try to maintain an environment in my stream is like I'm an adult. Everyone here is adults. I think just especially not making it a, like, friend and I feel like this sounds so messed up, but, like, not making it, like, a friendly environment for children
Yeah.
to be in, I think that that immediately removes a lot of the, like, parasocial weirdness, um, from your chat or community in general. So, yeah, just be very liberal with the ban button.
Yeah. That's actually a good point too, because a lot of people, I feel like they're afraid to ban people because if you are,
Oh, yeah.
if you're I hate to say low because everybody would put me in the low viewership category and I would agree, but it's like if you're a low viewership person and maybe you are kind of looking for chat activity, even if someone's being an asshole, sometimes you'll let things slide because, well, they're in my chat and they're kind of, they're creating activity in my chat. And sometimes people are afraid to
Right.
ban them, but it's like, you can tell you've been on the internet for a long ass time. I've been on the internet for a long ass time. You can tell what test the water trolling looks like from message one. And especially, here's the hack if anybody doesn't
Oh,
know, but I'm
yeah.
sure you do. Just the account age. If the account was created 20 minutes ago and they're popping in your chat being like,
Immediately.
sup, bro, it's like, okay, well, finger over the ban button already. Don't even try that shit.
Yeah, no, and I'm very lucky that I have, like, mods and like I said, just, providing an environment where we're all adults here, we know how to act, we know there's a line, and I know that my people know where it is, and I'm like, "Don't cross it." I'm like, "If you see somebody starting to cross it, I know my mods,
Yeah.
they take care of that shit."
Yeah. And I think, people might say, it sucks to have a lot of mods because sometimes, you'll have people that I hate to say it, but it's like sometimes you just don't know everybody and you may not necessarily be able to trust them. Sometimes they'll start unbanning people or like going rogue, but like, nah, like I think 10 to 15 mods is fair because that way, somebody's always going to be in the chat. If you're occupied or you're away and somebody's trying to like TTS a gamer word or whatever, just get them out. Hey, they do it. Trust me, I've been hit by that before.
Yeah,
People,
no, real.
yeah.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all.
And, the other thing that sucks about the environment that Twitch creates is like the pandemic really boosted a lot of things on Twitch, but the activity went up like 500% in the first 5 to 6 months when things first really started to lock down. And you hear from a lot of people that are like, yeah, I just kind of never went back out after that. Like it's been almost 4 years and they're still quarantining and they're very isolated. So I feel like, the more of a social role Twitch plays in their life, sometimes that mentality can build in a really unhealthy way and they can think that a streamer really is their friend when they're not.
Oh, yeah. I think we talked about this during your last podcast because it was similarly like geared towards being about streaming. And I'm like, you need to go outside and your mental health sometimes relies, yeah, no, literally.
True.
And I
It's
know I'm
true.
like, does I'm like, that sounds so simple, but it's so true. I'm like, get the fuck off the phone, get the fuck off the computer. Like, this is not your life. Your
Yeah.
life is outside your four walls. I'm like, yes, it's super fun to have like your community and the people that you find that like you could say like you choose to be around these people. When you go to work, you don't really necessarily get to choose who you're around. When you go outside in public, you don't get to choose your family, stuff like that. So I understand that while Twitch and people that you meet online could be like, oh, well, I want to be around them, they're cool, I picked to be here, can be like very helpful to, rub that like little social need that you have in your heart. But I'm like, nah, you gotta go outside.
It all just comes back to touching
You
grass.
need
It
to go
really does.
outside.
You just got to reach out and touch grass like that.
Literally, bro.
Yeah.
Literally.
So, and that's the
Speaking
other.
of touching grass, going to oh sorry,
No,
going
you're
to
fine. Go ahead.
TwitchCon, I think was like so like vital for me this past year. It was amazing. I'm like, dude, this is so much better than typing in your chat, bro. Hanging out, sharing a meal, like chilling in the living room of our Airbnb, playing video games. Like, I would take that a million times over sitting in somebody's chat and watching them stream.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, like humans are very social creatures in general, and a lot of people couldn't even get on with remote work compared to, being in an office every day and seeing their coworkers. So nothing, and I agree, like Twitch wise, especially if you're the person predominantly streaming, it really sometimes just feels like you're sitting under some hot ass lights. I know it does for me. I'm already like, I got the sweat beats going and everything. It's like sometimes it just feels like you're sat in a box and that's all you do. So the first time you actually get out and you experience, face to face hangouts with anybody, more social situation than just online and screen names, it's like you realize how little Twitch actually factors in. And that's why I feel like it's a little bit dangerous for people to be spending so much time on social media and Twitch like that, which that's not, I'm preaching to the choir. You know this, and a lot of people know this, but
Oh, of course. I know, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like sometimes people need to hear it. Sometimes people need to hear it over and over and over again.
yeah.
Not that you forget or anything, but it's like everybody needs to know this. Everybody. And it can't be reiterated enough that like go outside. Go
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah, and you got to remind yourself too, because like, a lot of times you could be developing an unhealthy habit and not even realize until somebody says, "Hey, dude, it's been 4 or 5 weeks since you've gone out and done anything. Are you good?" And then you'll start to think to yourself,
Right.
it has been a long time. I should get out and actually do something today. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
Rasta, God, I wish I could go out and live in the middle of the woods with no car. So really not an option for me. Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been trapped here, especially because just the snow and ice. It was like -5 degrees a couple days ago, so it's pretty
Oh
miserable
my
out here as well.
god,
But we're chilling, we're chilling.
dude. I start freaking out when it goes below like 40 degrees. So, holy shit.
Yeah, because you start to see like when it's that cold, you start to see like all the trees just folding down from all the ice and accumulation, and you're just like, well, power could go out at any moment because all the tree branches are like touching the power lines, and it's just a bundle of fun, that's for sure. Um,
Yeah, no, I'm so glad it's starting to warm back up.
Yeah, I mean, next week it's
Yeah.
already supposed to be like in the 50s, and then I saw thunderstorms. I'm like, really? We're doing this cycle again? It's like December last year was this way, and now January is like tornadoes and then ice stuff. It's crazy on the East Coast, but that kind of
Prayers up.
oh yeah, for sure. It's like the community building aspect of Twitch, I think, is really, really crucial if you're starting or trying to get something off the ground, especially if you're going to build momentum and you want something to be like a long-standing hobby that you do. If you see someone who's built a really strong community, do you think that it's more important for them to just like just push out a shit ton of content, or do you think that it's more worthwhile to um, spend more time like hanging out in the Discord, doing watch parties, doing a lot of actual community building exercises? Which of those do you think kind of creates a more inviting community on Twitch?
Um, Dang. I know that you and I had this discussion before about what we were going to talk about, but this kind of like tripped me up
Yeah.
because I think like honestly, it's really not one or the other. It has to be like a healthy balance of both because like you can have like super polished, pretty amazing things to look at, like a really nice stream, fun people to hang out with in the stream. But it's like if you like disappear as far as like outside of that, I feel like that's like a little boring. And I like not to name anybody, but I've known streamers that like, oh, yeah, I love watching your content, but other than that, you're like a freaking ghost.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't make me feel like super inclined to interact. And that's what I feel like a lot of this is about is like getting interactions between the streamer and the chatters. So I think a healthy balance of both is important. I mean, if anything, I would lean more towards like hanging out with people in Discord or like doing polls or like fun things that everybody can participate in for sure.
Yeah, that's super true because I feel like Discord is almost like you break down the first barrier because Twitch feels like a little bit more of a barrier because you're beholden to like the terms of service, and obviously I don't mean you're gonna do crazy sus shit in your Discord. I mean like, you can't stream a movie on Twitch.
No,
You can't just
no.
sit and hang out and watch Ghost Adventures, for example, on Twitch. That just ain't gonna happen. So I love that it's almost like just sitting back in the day we used to sit in a Ventrilo server. I feel like I'm talking about a newspaper, but kids back in the day, we used to have this thing called Ventrilo. It works a lot like Discord. And it just feels like it's a little bit more sociable than Twitch, and it's like a private hangout in a sense.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we would do team chat or not team chat, team speak. We would
Yep.
do team speak, tiny chat. I got them mixed up. Tiny chat, that type of stuff. As far as like, well, I met you from Twitter. Now I
Mm,
want to hang out, just me
yeah.
and you, and it not being like over the DMs, that type of stuff. Definitely that's what I would use like tiny chat for, or again, like team speak.
Funny you mentioned TeamSpeak. I'm actually, this is really dumb, but I was actually paying for a TeamSpeak server way back in the day, and I still owe like $75 to some random company because I never paid the bill, and they kept charging me, and they actually ended up sending me letters, and I was like, dude. So
Oh my god.
one day they'll find me, and they'll like try to repossess something I have that is of equivalent value. But until then, I got my 75 motherfuckers. I'm happy. So,
Good for
um,
you.
so kind of
Swindle them bitches.
yeah, I swindled the fuck out of them. They are never getting that money. Discord, I love the free server aspect of Discord too.
Yes, I love that too, that it's free. And you
Yeah,
have so many options available for something that is for free. And I feel like a lot of people, the barrier of having to pay money for something is like Dude, I remember Josh was talking about this, Wood, um, that Asmongold, I however you feel about him, he was speaking about having to pay to stream on Twitch.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
You're out of your mind, dude. Like, what?
There was a
Pay?"
program that was like a competitor to OBS called XSplit. And the reason
Oh,
why
I heard of that.
the reason why XSplit died out is because they introduced a payment plan. And then OBS had like just emerged as a free to use program and everybody switched over. It's like, yeah, you can't do that when you have a competitor that's free. Like, that's not going to work. And I don't even know if
No, not
XSplit
at
as a
all.
company exists. I know that I feel like Elgato or some random company bought them and they were kind of absorbed into another company. But yeah, they died out quick when they introduced that. Like, nobody's going to pay for that ability.
Absolutely not. No, I think that that's one of the like beautiful parts of Twitch is that all of this is free. I mean, yes, you have to pay to get rid of the ads, but
Yeah.
you can click on somebody's stream and start watching immediately for free, interacting with them for free. You don't have to give bits, you don't have to give subs, you don't have to do anything. You can do it all for free. And I think that that's like I don't know. You have to pay for Netflix, you have to pay for Hulu, Disney, whatever. But this is like you just hop into somebody's chat and there's your entertainment
For
right
hours.
there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like, we were actually, me and Bridget were just talking about this the other day. It's like the amount of different streaming services and the amount of division that there is now, everybody keeps grabbing their shows and pulling them onto their streaming service only. You're easily paying for more than everybody used to pay for cable. So the new version of cable,
100%.
yeah, it's like the new version of cable cutting is cutting Netflix and Hulu and just watching Twitch and YouTube. I feel like I hear about so many people just cutting all that shit.
Literally. Yes. I think that the only streaming services that I pay for myself is Discovery Plus because I love 90 Day Fiancé and Ghost Adventures. I
Yep.
can't get enough. And YouTube Premium, and that's it. That's all I need.
Those motherfuckers. They hid the putting your phone screen to sleep and putting it in your pocket behind YouTube Premium, and I will never forgive
I
them for
can't.
that.
Dude, I remember there was like workarounds to doing that and
Jailbreaking. Yep.
man. Yeah, and they were like, "Nah, bitch, you thought." But yeah, no, I pay my whatever it is, my 14.99 a month,
Oh,
and I
it's
go to sleep
oh dude, it's
with
busted for
my
us. It's
video
busted
turned
for
off.
us. They had YouTube Red before YouTube Premium existed, and I had the old rate, which was 10.99, and I still get that rate because I was one of the early customers, and we have a family plan. There's like 6 people sharing that shit. So I've got like me, I've got
Ah,
like a couple of my
dang.
mods, I've got Bridget's account on there. All that all that content for 10.99. It's sick.
No, good for you. Steal again. Steal as much as you can.
Hey, why not? Listen, they take the office away from me. I take YouTube Premium away from them. That's right, motherfuckers. It's the give and take.
Period. Period.
So kind of you know, I know we do talk a lot about streaming and that's how we met in the first place, but something that I actually have wanted to talk to you about, but you're always, you're doing things like Osu and you're also usually doing nail streams, which you can't always 100% pay attention to chat. But for anyone that doesn't know, she actually does nail designing streams, which are really cool and they have a very ASMR type quality to them. So if you're just trying to chill out and get some work done, like I frequently am, I love to watch those because they're really long form and they're relaxing. But I wanted to kind of
Thank you.
ask you about that. What, you know, I know a little bit, of course, I don't want to go too deep into it, but I know a little bit kind of like what you had done in the past. What kind of attracted you to that as a career path and what made you want to be a manicurist?
Okay, so I think I always enjoyed art, just always, period. From when I was like literally in kindergarten, I remember, the teacher would be like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I remember the first thing that I told them, I was like, "I want to be a fashion designer." And, getting into fashion and honestly the whole fashion industry, as far as I know, interacting with a couple of people that I know online that are involved with it is like brutal as fuck. And I am like a very sensitive, I'm a crybaby type of person. Like I can't take that type of pressure. So anyways, going backwards, um, I was in the army, funnily enough, crazy that that happened. But I was in the army. I got injured. I got kicked out. I was like super depressed. I was like, what the fuck do I do with my life? Like this was my plan for the next 2 years. I was supposed to go to
Mm,
college off of like the money from the government. And so I was like a little bit lost. And then my older sister, she was in school to be an esthetician. And I look up to her a lot. I think that she has inspired me a lot in my life to get the confidence to do certain things, and this was definitely one of them. I had always loved getting my nails done, but like I was 19 years old and like mad broke, like broke AF.
yeah,
Yes,
same.
the
Yeah.
chat. I'm dead. Anyways, uh I was like, you know what? If they can do it in the salon, I'm like, I don't understand why I can't do it. And so I went to Walmart. I got myself like a 10.99 little kit to do acrylic. And I'm sorry, hold on. Anyways, so I got the kit and then I went home. I did my first set and I was like, this is all right. I think I like this though, because I love doing designs and I love drawing, I love painting, I love doing art just in general. And so I was like, I think like I can do this. My sister was in school to be an esthetician, and I was like, you can go to school to be a nail tech. And it just kind of like the ball started rolling from there. I ended up taking like a little bit of a detour in my life after I got like so close to getting my actual license to be a manicurist. I had to put that to the side for a minute, and I went to go do retail and all of that, and I think that I kind of needed that to like bring me back into the headspace of like, no dude, that stuff is not for you. This is what you need to be doing. Focus on this. And so I don't know. I feel like
That's special.
it combines something for me of where I can do something very repeatedly that's the same thing every time, which is the actual manicure of like fixing up the nails, making them pretty, doing the cuticles, this and that and the other. And then the unique part that's every single time that's something different is the art that I get to do on top. I can't tell you a, a set of nails that I've done twice when I was working independently. Working in the salon, that's a different story. But independently, it's so unique and special to me. I love it so much. It's like the best thing that I am so I feel really lucky and blessed to have found something that is literally what I think I'm like supposed to do.
When you were working retail, did you do a night shift or a day shift?
Um, well, there was times where I would just be there all fucking day. I would be there from open to close. I was
Yeah.
working at a jewelry store and I would be the only bitch in there all day.
Yeah, you got to be the opener and the closer. I I did a
Yeah.
stint in retail and I 100% agree. I think retail and fast food will show you where you want to be and they almost they're very laborious career paths and they're career paths that force you to develop socially a lot faster than you would like. Um Otherwise you're going to get
Oh
bitched
yeah.
out and written up by your managers or whatnot. So I had a very similar experience. It's funny, you talk about speed running and now you're talking about retail showing you where you wanted to be in life. It's like the fucking same because it's like I did night shift for 3 years. I still can't sleep properly. That was 2014 to 2017, little cut into 2018. So like a little over 3 years. I still can't sleep properly. And I'm checking a wrist with no watch. It's been 5 years. Okay. Like it fucks you up. It fucks everything about you up and just the rat race and the rush and
Oh
the pace of
yeah.
everything.
You get PTSD from that. I believe it.
Absolutely. Sick boy, you did retail as well. Yeah, he's saying right now, never ever again, my worst nightmare. You're either built
Yeah,
for it or you're
literally
not.
trauma. The trauma is so real.
Yeah. And so I love, like I said, I love the streams of it. But something I have always wanted to ask you about ever since I first found out that that's what you do professionally is what are some things, because just like streaming, there's a lot of things people don't take into account. What are some things about your job that some people don't realize is either difficult or just is a lot crazier in terms of, your work hours or what have you?
Oh my god. Okay, so I feel like as going from working in a salon to being independent is two completely different things. And that I think it would have been a year next month that I would have been independent. And I was like, yeah, man, I got this. It can't be that hard. Like, whatever. I worked in a salon that would work like 10 to 10, 12-hour shifts. And I'd be like, yeah, I got the shit, the fuck. But no, dude, like I have to do literally absolutely everything on my own. Everything.
Yep.
So that goes from like advertising, posting on Instagram, cleaning, making sure that my clients have little snacks or drinks or fun things to make their experience because I keep them there for like 2 or 3 hours, sometimes even up to four. So it's like bitches get hungry, bitches get thirsty, they get uncomfortable sitting in the chair just as I do. So I have to account for their experience, making sure that I have like entertainment for them, stuff like that. Oh my gosh. And like I have never been in a job ever, even when I was in the military, uh, where I'm like, I literally need a massage.
Yeah.
I feel like there being like this, like shrimp mode
Yep.
for hours and hours and hours at a time, I, I, I'm so fucked. Like my back is probably ruined. I do my best to like make sure I keep my shoulders back. I love that too, that all of my hobbies are like sitting down at a desk
Yeah.
and like being hunched over and like staring at something, really drawing and things like that. So it's like just staring at really little things or a screen, sitting down. So it's like I have to definitely make up for it by like going to the gym or getting a massage. So definitely like it's way more of taking care of my body than I ever thought it would have been.
Yep. And it's crazy. Sitting is so bad for you. That's the armchair quarterbacks. They're always like, oh, it's got to be so easy to just sit. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's not easy to sit for 4 or 5 hours in the same hunched position, doing like fine motor skill things. The design has to be perfect. It has to be perfect. Like, it's not fucking easy.
10 times.
Yeah.
10 times. Keep that in mind. I'm like, you can do it perfect the one time on the one finger, but it's like, guess what, bitch? There's 9 other ones that you gotta
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. And it's funny you also mentioned the difference between being employed by a salon and also being independent. I would imagine you also have to put in a lot more legwork to build up your reputation if you didn't start in a salon. Because, getting your first few clients in,
Oh,
they have
yeah.
to give you the reputation. You got to build that clientele over time.
For sure. I feel like, when in between the time where I quit my job at the salon, to when I started independent, it was almost exactly a year, that I took off, that I was just like helping my sister with her business, helping her with her kids, stuff like that. And I definitely fell off of a lot of people's radar in that period of time. So building my clientele back up was definitely a bit of a struggle. I won't lie. It was like scary sometimes where it's like, it's the first of the month and I just paid rent and there's nobody on the books for next weekend. I have
Yeah.
like one person booked and like it it it's scary, but it's one of those things where it's like you just have to believe in yourself. You just literally have to keep going, put one foot in front of the other, um, keep getting yourself educated, keep practicing your art, all of that stuff, and post over and over, fucking post.
Yeah, it's a lot of legwork, but that kind of comes with building the reputation and getting the momentum going. So now it sounds like, you have a decent set of return clients. And once you have that momentum built up, it's like, you're good to go, and you're not attached. Like, you don't have to be on someone else's time. You can do what you need to do when you need to do it. So it's
Oh
like that
yeah.
freedom that comes with being independent. It's like irreplaceable.
Oh my God, yes. That's why I love it so much that when I move to Denver next month, that going back into a salon in a way kind of feels like I'm taking a little bit of a step backward, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like I proved to myself already that I can do it, that I just need that little bit of a like soft place to land before I go like balls to the wall independent again. Cause like I said, it's a scary place to be when you don't have that, like, I guess like you said, the return clients, the people that know you.
Mhm.
Cause where I'm at now, like all these nail techs know each other. Everybody knows who is who and who
Yep.
sees this girl and who sees that girl. So yeah,
Yeah, you know the formula
it's
now.
scary, but um yes, exactly.
Yeah, you know the formula now,
It's
and
not so new anymore.
yeah, exactly. And like you said, like, yeah, you'll have to start out, and kind of you have to get to a new area. You're in a place where maybe, the clientele's not familiar to you, and they're going to have to get readjusted to that. But once you establish yourself, yeah, like Fracture said, you establish yourself in a new area, you already know what needs to be done. So, once you get that momentum built, you can just go independent again, and you know that it's an inevitability that it's eventually going to happen. So that's a much better place to be in than just like beholden to a shift 5 days a week. I would imagine.
Yeah, dude, because that is also, I thought it was easier being in the salon momentarily, like uh where I have let somebody, I can be like, here's my dirty tools, go clean them, please.
Yeah,
Oh, you took care of like my client that's sitting there waiting on me because I ran over 5 minutes with the receptionist and stuff like that. But the I can just be like, I'm taking the day off, and who am I telling?
yeah,
Me. You know what I'm saying?
yep.
So it's much better working on my own.
So, more of a fun topic kind of related to that, though, and something that you may not get a chance to talk about too often. What are some of your absolute worst customer horror stories? Because we hear about nail salon and like hair salon Karens all the time. Do you have any really bad experiences with those types?
I have two. I have two. So, I'm very grateful, honestly, that in the place that I was in, work, and they're both in the salon. When I was working in my studio independently, again, where I was saying earlier that that vibe that you put out, that you get back. You know what I'm saying? But when I don't have control over who sees this salon. Um, they kind of have like a little bit of a weird, I guess, brand to themselves. They attract very, very many different people that I don't have control over. So I feel like definitely the salon was where I would have to deal with the most weirdos. But there was two people in particular that I was like, y'all make me not want to do this.
Yeah,
Um, so the first one was a lady that she I was very frequently in the salon. I was fully booked all day long, back to back. I get my 1 hour break and that's it. The rest of the time I'm sitting across from somebody. So I had a 50-minute slot open for the day. And this lady, she squeezed herself in with a lacquer manicure, which is a regular polish manicure. If you don't know the difference between like the gel manicure is the one that you cure in the light, which takes a little bit longer just because you have to put your hand in that light and it takes time, obviously, for them to dry. But the lacquer manicure, you just slap that stuff on and you're ready to go. So she squished herself in, but she wrote in her notes during her booking that she wanted a gel manicure with design. And she wrote a little happy face, like the
yeah,
little colon close parenthesis face. And I was like, huh? So I told the receptionist, I was like, hey, you need to let this lady know that I can't do that. And what she booked, we can't do it. I don't know if there was some type of miscommunication going on, but this lady came in and she was like, "Oh, well, I wrote what I wrote, and that's what I want." And we were kinda just like, well, I literally don't have the time. I literally cannot do that for you. I can do a lacquer manicure, that's fine. I can get that done for you." And she was like, after having to convince her to, be okay with this, that I'm like, "Literally, I don't have any time." I'm like, "Lady, the more that you argue with me, the less time that I have to do your nails.
Yeah.
Like, I need you to understand this." Um, so she starts looking through the little colors and she starts grabbing multiple polishes. And I was like, "Oh, we're only doing one color." And she was like, "Are you kidding? What do you mean? Are you serious?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, we can only do just one color. I only have 50 minutes for your spot." And she's just like looking at me like I'm fucking crazy. And then I finally look down at her nails and she has gel polish on them already. So that adds even more time to the appointment because I have to take those off in order to put new nails on. So I was just like, I I don't have time. I don't have time to do what you want me to do. Like I can't do this. And she started catching an attitude with me and like
Yeah.
almost yelling at me. And I was like, I can't deal with this. And thank God, thank you, every power in the universe, that the manager that loves to fight with people was up there at the front desk
Yep.
and heard this lady start to get on to me. And my bitch ass, you know what I did? I just turned my ass around and walked back into the nail room
Yep.
after my manager was like, what's going on?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm fucking out of here because I don't get paid to deal with, like you said, Karens."
You
And I'm
don't.
like, "I literally don't have the time. I'm so sorry, lady."
Yeah. It's like, what are they, where does this
I'm like,
sense
"That's
of
not what you booked
entitlement
for."
come from? I don't understand. Where does this entitlement come from? It's like you have clients that were booked before. Just because you wrote a fucking smiley face
Way
doesn't mean that,
before.
yeah, it's like, it doesn't mean you get special priority just because you asked. Like, people are going to be walking in while you're getting your
No,
shit done. How does that fair? I just don't get it.
no, no. I don't know. She ended up getting blacklisted, so that was good.
Yeah.
But my other experience where I was just like, I want you to fall off the earth, was I don't know if I'm sure everybody is aware of the like whole Californian moving to Texas trope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I had this girl that she moved from LA to Austin, where my salon was based. Um, and from the moment that she sat down, I was like, "I don't really like you."
You can just tell.
But she was like 16, 17 years old. Yeah, no, she just seemed like sh she was ready to fight with me. Um, so I'm doing her nails, I'm doing her nails. I'm like trying to, talk to her like I normally do. I don't know. I think I'm pretty fucking easy to talk to. I think I'm a nice fucking person, you know? So I just was having a conversation with her real nice. And she got extensions. So she got little tips put on her nails. And uh the way that the salon booked for art was in 3 separate tiers, which was simple, custom, and, like, elaborate or whatever, and she had only booked for simple art, and she shows me what she wanted for her design, and it was like matte nails, but every different nail was a different color, like a different like, going from dark to light
Oh,
of
like a gradient?
brown and painted on the nails was like yes, yes, like a gradient, like ombre type of vibe. And, she also wanted painted on top like a weird, like, wiggly window design painted with, like, shiny. So it was like a shiny on a matte, like, situation. And I'm like, "That's way too much for simple art." But I had her appointment booked before my lunch. So I was like, "Okay, I can do this. You know what? No problem." I'm like, "Maybe I'll swear myself a client if I can get the
Yep.
shit done." So I'm doing her nails. I'm doing her nails. I go to do her cuticles. And the way that I do my cuticle prep is that I use what's called a cuticle bit with my e-file, which a lot of people will call a drill or is it like a Dremel. So I'm
Dremel, yeah.
doing it. And her yes, and her nails, her skin starts to weep. Do you know what that is? Where, like, just honestly starts to, like, ooze.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, her skin starts to ooze and weep. This, like, clear liquid, and I should have just stopped the manicure there, but I was an inexperienced nail tech still at that point. That was, like, one of the first salons that I had ever worked in. So I was just like, you know, we'll just throw some alcohol on that and we'll keep it moving.
Yeah.
And I was asking her, I was like, does everything feel okay? And she was like, and I was like, okay.
What does that mean?
So
Yeah.
I keep going. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm like, let me know when it hurts or it doesn't feel good. And she's like, all right. And so I put the nails on. I start like picking out colors for her that I can paint them. And this is when she starts to tell me, I used to go to the same nail salon as Khloe Kardashian. I used to go to the same nail salon where this really extremely popular nail tech works.
You want
And
a
I was just
fucking
like,
medal?
that's cool. Yeah, I'm like, that's great. And I'm like, "Well, you're fucking here now sitting in my chair, like, what do you want me to, like ooh, whoa, like, what the fuck do you want me to tell you?" But again, I'm just thinking in my mind, like, she's, like, 16, 17 years old, and so I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that's cool, great, like, that's nice, like, I know that popular nail tech, that's super
Yeah.
cool, great."
Just keep
Because
it
'Cause I'm not
on.
trying to be like, "Do you understand how rude" yeah, how rude that is to me to be like, yeah, I used to go here and I used to go there. And I'm like, well, now you're in Austin, Texas, baby, yeehaw. Anyways, so I'm grabbing all these colors for her, and almost every single one of these colors she fucking hates. They're almost the same as the picture, but she's like, I don't really like any of these. So she's pushing me back on my time
Yeah.
further and further and further back into my lunch. And was a learning moment for me. So I'm just like, you know what? No problem. We'll try to mix some colors for you. Like, what colors do you think? Like, trying to work with her. And so I finally mixed some colors that are cool with her. We paint the nails, and she's like, okay, they're looking pretty good. And I'm like, okay, great. So I mat them out and I start to draw on the little shiny design on top of them. And I tell her, how do you like that? Before you put it in the lamp, can you check and make sure that it's what you like? And so she looks at them and she looks at me and she's like, what are you even doing? And I was like, what are you doing?
I'm doing what you fucking
She
asked me to
apparently,
do.
her and I had literally, and so her and I don't know if we had a miscommunication or what, but she did not like the way that I did her little window squiggly line shit. So I had to take it off, do it over again, take it off, do it over again because she still didn't like it. So I literally take out my phone, and I don't know if you've ever used Snapchat, but on Snapchat, you can like draw a little bit. So I start to draw. I'm like, so is this what you want? And she's like, yeah, something like that. And so at this point, we've run probably like 30, 45 minutes past the time where her appointment was supposed to end. So I'm like left with like 15, 20 minutes to eat food that I had not ordered because of my dumb bitch ass. I was ordering DoorDash to the salon to eat. So the girl is pretty much just like, at this point, I'm sure she just wants to get the fuck up out of the chair. So she just like puts her hand in the lamp and she's like, okay, this is fine, whatever. So I'm like, I'm sorry that we weren't really able to communicate like super great. And I'm really sorry if the nails didn't come out to your exact what we were thinking. And she's like, that's fine. It's okay. They still look pretty good. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm glad that at least you're somewhat satisfied. And so she goes up to the front and she got her nails done at the same time as her mom. And so she immediately starts complaining to her mom. She's like, this doesn't look right. This is crooked. That's this way. That's the other way. And I'm literally in the other freaking room
In earshot, yeah.
hearing all this. And I'm just like, starving, hungry, sweating and dying, and I'm like, "You know what, bitch? You had infected fucking nails anyway." And so I go into the bathroom, I shed a tear, I won't lie. And so I'm just waiting in there, and when I'm in the bathroom, I text the girl that's working at the reception, and I'm like, "Can you come to the bathroom really fast? Cause like, I need a pep talk." So she's like, "Don't worry, sweetie." She seemed like a real bitch when she was checking out, and not to dox this girl, but her name was Chanel on top of it all.
The
I'm like,
classic.
"Of course, that's your fucking name."
Yeah, either that or Karen. Yep.
But yeah, right. So the girl, she leaves, they go. Maybe about like 2 or 3 days later, I get called into the break room slash office, and the receptionist is like, "Hi, do you remember doing that girl, her name is Chanel. Do you remember her doing her nails?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then they show me a picture of her nails that she said, one of them looked literally torn off, and it's like, I can tell the difference between them popping off and you tearing them off.
Yeah.
So she tore one off and said, "Oh, my dog, when I took my dog out, my nail popped off." And I was like, "Okay." And I got fucking written up. I got written up for her nail popping off.
Yeah. It's
And I was like, "This is the worst experience I've ever had with a client."
Yeah, you called it a learning experience. That certainly fucking is. It's like you, at a certain point, like I think retail teaches you this, but that type of experience does too. It's like these people are just fucking unpleasable unless you literally roll out the red carpet and give them 6 hours of your time. They are unpleasable. And so it's like you can't you just got to let it roll the fuck off your back cuz it's like you'll just be sat there stressed all day if you actually take what they say seriously, you know.
Exactly. And again, she was a teenager, so I'm just like, "You know what? Hopefully you learn how to be an actual normal human being."
Yeah, a functioning adult, yeah. And
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
yeah, and that too, like we were talking about that, but customers in retail, I would say are some of the absolute worst. It's funny because a lot of people say phone customer service is horrible too, but it's like they get even more bold when they're in front of your face and they will say like crazy personal attack shit. It's like, dude, you don't like the price of something in the store and you're going to roast me about it. Like you're going to say that you're going to call me whatever or say that I don't know what I'm doing or be like, oh, this person's low income garbage because they work at a whatever. It's like, it's just amazing how bold the people
It's
are
so
sometimes.
evil.
Yeah.
It's just like, why are you a tyrant right now? Like, I'm a human just the same as you. I'm like, just because you're paying me for a service does not mean you become a tyrant. It doesn't mean that you all of a sudden are like king and queen.
Oh, the absolute worst is when you go to, and this isn't even like a nice restaurant. You go to like a fucking Applebee's or Golden Corral, one of those like franchise places, and I know these older people in my family. I'm not gonna out them, but they're the types that will put like $21 bills on the table, and they'll look at the waitress or the waiter, and they'll say,
No
"Every time I
way.
have to wait, I take $1 away." Yes, there are those fucking people. I hate that fucking behavior so much. It's
They
like,
literally do that.
yeah, it's just disgusting. It's like you're literally making them dance for $1. It's so
That's
infuriating
what
the
I'm
way people do
saying.
that.
I'm like, "You're a tyrant. You're a
Yeah.
tyrant, just a straight up tyrant." It's
Like
evil.
yeah, and it's like, dude, that person lives off of their tips. I don't think a lot of people realize people that are waiters and servers, they get paid like fucking $2 an hour because somehow it's legal. I don't know how it's legal, but
Oh,
it
yeah.
is. They need their tips to literally survive. So when you just play around with that, it's like, yeah, of course, the burden should be on the business. Yes, they should pay a living wage, but this is the system we have. So if you can't afford to tip, you can't afford to go out. That's just my mentality.
Oh, yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. Absolutely. One of my first jobs was working at Sonic, and I was a car hop,
Yep.
and we got paid like $5 an hour. So, and a lot of people that they don't, when they go there, they don't know that you're supposed to tip.
Hmm.
So, a lot of
Did
times my employer was having to make up for what I wasn't making.
Did you do the roller skates and everything too, or was that before that? got implemented? Because I know that was a thing for a while.
Hell nah.
Yeah.
No. Oh no, there was other people at the store that I was working at that they did, but I was like, I'll just run.
Yeah.
I'll just run. I'll be good.
Yeah, that would be a one-way ticket for me to bust my fucking ass. There's no way I'd be doing it.
Dude, literally. Like their whole little test was I bought skates and I tried to do it, but they would give you the Route 44 size cup. They
Yeah.
would give you 4 of those filled with water and you had to do a lap around the store holding like the little tray with them and I couldn't fucking do it. I fell and I fucking spilled the water everywhere. So I was
Yeah.
like, I think I'll just run. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, a lot of people in fast food, they don't even know that you can tip. I will tell you the store that I worked at, fuck it, I'll just say it. I worked at Walmart. It's not like there's some small company that I'm afraid of. They actually would not allow you to accept tips. If you accepted a tip, you could be fired for that. You had to say, I can't accept that. You have to donate it to the store. That's literally their policy. So, I mean,
Oh my God. Fuck Walmart.
yeah, it's like, well, at the very least, a lot of places don't have that policy, but it is still very disgusting to pay people like $5 an hour and sometimes even drastically less in a place where they're actually working very, very hard like that.
Oh my God, yes. Like your job title is server.
Yeah.
You're serving
Yeah.
people. Like actively making sure that, they have their water, they have their food, everything, like similarly to your family members, making sure that they get all their T's crossed and their I's dotted. Everything needs to be perfect. And it's just like, oh my God, you're like they don't get paid to do all that.
Yeah, one of my favorite types of videos to watch are public freakout compilations, and I saw this one of like an older guy that was super well to do. Like he was like, "Oh, I'm here on a business trip," and nobody says that in this unless they're like a 5 to 6 figure earner or 6 figure, I would say, like guaranteed. And he's like going up to these waitresses at Denny's and being like, "Oh, I need a server that's going to be attentive to me because they're going to expect a tip," and that's how he's talking. It's like, dude, you're at a fucking Denny's. You're expecting this concierge, like red carpet royal fucking service, and they're serving you a fucking coffee in a Denny's. Like,
Literally,
chill out, buddy.
Michelin stars.
Yeah, chill the fuck out, dude.
Deadass.
Gummy said,
I'm like, slow your roll, dude.
yeah, Gummy said, I worked in a store at a Pizza Hut, and when I tell people I was a tip worker, they're shocked that you're supposed to tip. Yeah, it's like, dude, if we saw what people were making hourly, everybody would tip. Seriously, if people like went around and broadcasted what they were making hourly, I guarantee most people would be compelled to tip because they're like, holy shit, that is robbery. Like delivery people that have to put wear and tear on their own car.
Slave wages, bro.
Yeah.
Slave wages.
Yeah, it's like, it's cool that Uber Eats and these delivery services and the rideshare services, it's cool that they exist, but like, there was a guy one time we had to take, Bridget had a Mini Cooper for a while. We had to take her car in to get it repaired, which what's new? Mini Coopers are fucking shit. Nobody ever buy them. That's a whole other topic. And the guy that drove us home was like, yeah, I work 14 hours a day and I make $150 a day. Like that is so brutal. Like he only had one off day a week. It's like, dude.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like you're just destroying your vehicle.
I'm telling you, that's like borderline slavery.
It is. It's fucking crazy. And he's like,
on top of that, bucking up your car.
Yeah, and it's like your own car. And the other thing too is like
your car.
He told me the most wealthy people that he drives are the ones that tip the least. It's like those are the types like, well, I didn't get rich by spending money.
Yeah.
So they're just super, super stingy about it. It's like, dude, this person is fucking using their own car to give your entitled ass a ride back from the gentleman's club. That's what they call them here, but we know what the fuck they are. It's like you could at the very least give the dude $10 as a tip. Like I feel like that's fucking nothing, Absolutely, Gummy.
Yeah,
it is.
I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where like going back to working as a nail tech, me being independent, I can set my own prices, right? And I'm like, you guys don't have to tip me, like almost as if the gratuity is already included, because it's like, I know that a lot of people, they're like, well, what do I even tip you? I'm like, if you want to, you can. I'm not gonna say no, but like, oh man, like if I were to be able to control it, I don't want to. Like, oh my gosh. And another thing about working at the salon, for some reason, the salon that I was working in, we had to share tips with the receptionists that were getting paid salary. And I was just like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
like I know that you guys like take our like phone calls and like clean our tools from time to time, but like, what the freak?
yeah, you're not the one actually performing the service. That's like if the servers had to go tip the person who's like just standing at the front greeting guests and sitting them down. It's like, "Oh yeah, let's go split our tips with you." It's like, "What? They're not the one that's actually doing the labor." Like just tip the one singular person you want to
Literally.
tip, and if you want to tip the receptionist, you can do that as well, but it's so awkward when they ask you what you want to be tipped. It's like, I don't why do you got to put that pressure on me? I don't want to say an amount.
Yeah, no, that's too much for me. And again, of where like I'm always like, it's always appreciated, never required. Like
Yeah.
you never have to pay me extra. And then they're like, no, no, let me pay you. And I'm like, okay, you can if you want to. But it's just like, I don't know. Again, of like, and I don't know. I think tipping, it's cute, it's fun. Sometimes it's an extra little treat or present for the person that you're getting your service done by. But I think as a whole, it should, it, we, it's, you know what? At least it shouldn't be something that people rely on to like pay their bills
Yeah.
or, put gas in their cars so they can get to their next shift. It's so fucked.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Reservoir Dogs, but they have a huge conversation about tipping at the beginning of that movie, and it's like it's so true. It's like it's fucked up that we even have to have this conversation because people rely on them to pay their bills, and so people do feel compelled to tip, but it's like that just puts the employer, it just gets them off the hook of actually having to pay a decent living wage. It's there they just get to sit there and
It's
take
so
80,
awkward.
90% of the profits and like, oh, people's tips will make up for it. But it's like, why do we even have to have this conversation?
I know, I'm like, you shouldn't be in business
Yeah.
if you're like unable to pay people a proper wage.
Yep. Fracture just said it.
But yeah,
Like they get away with paying them less than minimum wage because of some fucking loophole. It's like, oh yeah, and tips make up for it, but it's just disgusting. Like 7.25 is literally an unlivable minimum wage. I don't know a singular person unless you've got like 5, 6 roommates that can cover bills. Like there's
way
no
past
way.
unacceptable.
Oh, not a loophole law. Well, that's
So,
even more lovely.
yeah, God. Having to deal with like earning money, especially like on my own too, like this has definitely put it a lot into perspective as like what where I place value on myself. And so it's just like it's scary to see the wages that they're trying to give people for things that like definitely way harder jobs than I have.
Yeah. 100%. Like if I were to go back to retail, I would probably be fucked up like the first 3 or 4 weeks. Like I remember how sore I was the first couple weeks cuz like I was used to mild manual labor, but I was not used to them rolling out a pallet of like chemicals, which is like a whole pallet full of gigantic gallon bleach bottles. And you have like 6 to 7 of these pallets a night, and you have to pick everything up. You are responsible for getting all those boxes open, crushing the boxes. Like if I were to go back to retail,
Oh
I
my
would get my
God,
ass
yuck.
absolutely kicked. Yeah. So it's like, and that job paid significantly less than, what I'm doing now. And it's like, I wish that we had some measure of like, if you're destroying your own body, if you're literally, it's like you're offering up your body as collateral to pay your bills. Like we should be able to compensate these people more. They're going to have fucked up backs in their 30s. They're going to have fucked up knees and ankles and tendons and shit. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, dude. It's fucked.
Members of Sam's Club. Oh, memories of Sam's Club. Oh God, you worked at Sam's Club, Gummy. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, yes.
So that actually is a
The
perfect
Sam's Club
segue.
days.
Yeah, that is a perfect segue. Like Walmart and Sam's Club, they're fucking two sides of the same demonic coin. But it's like something that we also had discussed before is like if you were to make a six-figure salary, for example, just as a hypothetical. Like if you were to make a six-figure salary, but you just fucking hated your job, like you hated going in, you hated your coworkers, hated what you were tasked with doing. Like I hear this from a lot of people that are in real estate where, or car sales, where your job ultimately comes down to lying to people and being, you know, vague about stuff and not being honest and trying to get people's money. Like, do you think that there's a lot of people that do things that they ultimately find immoral if the check is high enough? And do you think that do they find that it's worth it to support their families, or how do you feel about that whole dynamic?
Well, I can tell you from like the perspective of like a service provider. Um, when I was working in the salon, like not that I was making like a ton more than I am now working on my own. Um, I mean I was working in the salon. So
Mm,
it's like I know how that is of where it's like I was fucking miserable. I was so sad. I was literally having nightmares. I would wake up out of my sleep and have nightmares about going to work and making money for the people that I was working for because it's just like how like fucked up is that like my body is like having a reaction
yeah.
to this that I'm going through just for a couple of extra dollars. I couldn't do it. Personally, me, like I told you earlier, I'm like really sensitive and a crybaby ass bitch. So I can't handle it. I can't handle it. But you know, like if people want to, you know, set aside their morals to make more money, I'm like, you know, I don't know how long you can keep that up just from my I can only speak for myself, but I don't I to me it just I don't think it's ever worth it. I would take being independent and making just a little bit less than I was in the salon 100 times. I would pick to do this 100 times over working in the salon, being sad, getting mistreated, like obvious like favoritism and things like that, or like how you said, lying to people. Not that I was
Yeah.
lying to people like me, but it's like, I mean, there was definitely times where it was like, "Oh my god, do you like working here?" And I'm like, "No, bitch, I fucking hate it."
Yeah.
But it's like, I can't tell somebody that when we're in a room full of like 10, 15 other people. Like, no, that's not an option. So it's like I don't know. I me nah, I can't take it. But if someone out there is like, yeah, I'll put my morals aside and make a little bit of extra, I'm like, good for you, I guess.
Yeah, I think it honestly comes down to like what we were talking about with being able to have goals, like can sometimes keep you on the straight and narrow and keep you sane. Like if you're making a six-figure salary, you can really realistically afford like whatever you want, obviously within reason, but it's like if you're making so much money that you're able to indulge in a lot of things that maybe you used to want or maybe work toward, you're going to get bored eventually. And people, we see like people once they get extremely wealthy, like once they become millionaires, almost all of them end up getting depressed and turn to drugs because they don't have any goals left to earn. Like they've made their first million, they've tried every food they've wanted to try, they've traveled everywhere, and it's like what's left? And the only thing left to like stimulate them is drugs. So it's like, I know that's a really extreme example, but it's like, you know, having a lower income and
No,
being
but it's
able to,
real.
yeah, it's like having a lower income. Yeah, people might, you know, clown on you or whatever the fuck. It's like, I will 100% take a paycheck to paycheck, you know, type job versus that because I know that I'm always going to have goals that are going to keep me sane, keep me focused, and in control, very lucid. And I'm not like turning to these other fucking substances because there's nothing left for me to look forward to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think as well, like having people around you that they are either just in it for the money or in it because, you know, oh, well, she's a good time because she does X, Y, and Z because you have all these things available to you because of the
Yeah.
money that you make. Like that just, I don't think that that's healthy either. I think, you know, the healthiest people that you can have around you is people that have like similar goals and morals to you. So I agree that, you know, I don't know, us poors, I'm like, I think we have much better relationships with one another than people who are like extremely wealthy.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, you know, this Fortune 500 corporate like rat race type mentality that a lot of people have. It's like you have to win and you have to be competitive and you have to fight your way to the top of this ladder. And, you know, you make it to the top of the ladder, or say, you know, even we could come back to say Twitch. It's like, you know, you just sacrifice all your friends, you blow everybody off, you blow off your family, everything, and you just stream and you've made it. You're a successful streamer. And you look around, it's like, okay, but what do you have to show for it? You got no friends. Your family doesn't want to talk to you. Like, you're going to sacrifice so much of your personal life for a job that certainly is not going to have a tough time replacing you if it came down to it. It's like you have to find
Oh
a
my
healthy
God, so
work-life
true.
balance.
Yes, and all of these like platforms, they can like disappear in a moment. Like tomorrow, Twitch could be like, okay, we're done.
Yeah,
Or Amazon is like, okay, I'm done with hosting you guys. You guys figure this shit out.
they did it in
And it's
South
like, look how
Korea.
many people are on the yes, exactly. Perfect example. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like you cannot put all of your eggs in one basket and you need to touch grass.
Yep, it all comes back to touching grass. It's
It
100%
really
true.
does.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, it's just a crazy dynamic because it's like I see these people putting in crazy hours, whether it's their work or whatever it happens to be. It's like this grind set mentality that so many people have. It's like, what, you know, you're going to sacrifice your 20s and your 30s. Like by the time you hit your 40s, like your health issues that you've been putting on the back burner are going to start to bubble up to the surface. You're going to have to start to take care of these things. And like, you don't have that social circle of like high school or college friends anymore to go hang out with because they've all got their own families and they've got their shit going on. It's like, you got to discover the balance early. Otherwise, it's not going to lead you anywhere. Like, yeah, you could be a fucking COO and you could be a CEO if you want to, if you really want to grind that hard. But, you know, you have to have something to show for it. I feel like if you just have the title, what else is there? You know, if that's all you have, what do you really have outside of just status?
No, I 100% agree. 100%.
Quit Twitch,
It's
back to the
nothing
IRL
without
minds.
being, oh my God. As long as you have that healthy balance, maybe you spend a little time on Twitch, spend a little time in the IRL mines. Healthy balance.
Yeah, it's kind of like you know, people say it all the time, but it's like, don't go into Twitch thinking that it's going to be a career. I feel like a lot of
Yes.
people can tell that. And so it's like, just do it as a hobby, just have fun with it. And if you're not having fun, don't do it. You know, don't force yourself to go live because it could be potentially a career path. Like, we see people stopping constantly. Like, I just had a streamer that I watched for years quit yesterday because he's like, this isn't working out. I can't get any more growth. It's like, I'm not trying to armchair quarterback, dude, but it's like if you would have diversified things and like just enjoyed yourself and only done it when you enjoyed yourself, maybe you wouldn't have had to quit like that, or maybe you wouldn't have been
Burned
burnt
out.
out. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's just hard to again, I'm like I would never I don't think I will ever stop doing nails until it becomes like something that I no longer enjoy. And
Hmm.
that's the where it lies of like you if you want to be happy, you have to do something that you like to do. And I like doing nails. I like streaming on Twitch. Like I like hanging out with my friends. I like playing video games. If I ever happen to stop liking any of these things, I'm gonna find the next thing that I like and do that instead. And I think people are so understanding of that, of like, well, I'm just really not enjoying this anymore. And it's like, well, nobody wants to see you do something and that you're not like having fun or excited about it, you know? That's just it because it goes back to how you said of if you're doing this like purely for money and like just to like make it into a career, people can tell. People know. So same thing
Yeah.
if you're doing it and you're like, "I don't actually like this." People can tell.
Yeah, it's I've been surprised at how supportive people have been at all these YouTubers quitting, like Matt Pat retiring. This guy who's like a really big artist named Meat Canyon, he just put up a video that's like, I'm sick of putting these arbitrary like deadlines on my shit. I'm gonna go like hire a personal trainer. I'm gonna lose a bunch of weight. I'm gonna get healthy, and I'm gonna release just a couple
Oh,
videos a year.
good.
Yeah, and it's like people are super supportive of that because it's like, dude, I get it. I don't even like, this is a side thing for me, but when you give yourself a schedule and you do things like editing YouTube videos, sometimes it does feel like I'm clocking in, and I'll just sit there. I've like got the Adobe Premiere timeline up. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, nobody's forcing me to do this. Why am I sitting here for 6 hours editing this fucking video? Like, you have to take a step back and just see, like, is it healthy to put this much time into something, even if there's momentum and success? Like, should I scale it back and try to focus on my own health first?
I mean, you only have the one body, you only have the one mind. So treat yourself well and go outside again.
Yep. Family
It all
and your
comes back
health.
to
A family and your
go
health,
outside.
and in some situations, really good friends and significant others. Like, that's all you have in life. So don't trade that for, statistics or fucking money. Like, if you can pay your bills and shit's going just fine for you, like, don't sacrifice the people in your life or your health for that type of stuff. It's, that stuff is not permanent. But your family will be.
No, it's never worth it. Yeah, exactly.
So this is one of my favorite topics. I've been itching to get to this, but this is something that I hope you have one of, since you're such a fan of ghost adventures. Any paranormal
Yeah.
experiences that you would like to talk about?
I mean, I have like several. I think if Casey's still in the chat, she was even like around when this was happening. We were like living in a house together that her parents owned, and so much weird shit would happen in this house. Like I feel like the doors would like, start to shut on their own. I mean, given yes, it was an old house, but like doors would shut on their own. There was a time where this is the thing that freaked me out the most. Um and I know that there has to be like a natural explanation for it, but I've even like looked it up and I've tried to see is this like a natural phenomenon, but there was like, at least, dude, like 60 to 70 dead bees all over, like a bathtub in the master bath and the windowsill. And it was just so bizarre. And I'm like, the window was completely shut. Nobody ever opened that window. There was no way that little bugs could get in. There was just no way that this could happen at all, period. And I thought that it was so odd that it was bees. I'm like,
Yeah.
like flies or something but I'm like, bees? What the fuck? And there was another time where we were both hanging out in the living room. Um, and oh yes, and two, there was no beehives, there was nothing. Not I don't even think that we would really see like wasps. It was so fucking scary. And then there was a time where we were just like chilling in the living room, and it was like pretty late at night, and we were just like vibing, like chilling, hanging. And the door to the garage, we heard like three loud, distinct knocks. And I was just like, I'm getting like chills talking about it
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. Was it late at night that this happened?
But yes, yeah,
Oh,
we were
fuck
up
that.
late. Yeah, no, I got really scared because it was just me and her in the house, right? Actually, no, I think there was somebody else there, but it was definitely not them, and they were not on the vibe of like, yeah, this house, there's something wrong with it
Yeah.
at all. So, um, and it was loud, dude. Like it sounded like somebody was on the other side of the door knocking on the fucking door. And I was like, I can't take this shit. And I think like within the next couple of days, I went out and I got like a Jesus candle and I lit the Jesus candle.
Yeah.
It was so scary.
Dude, a lot of times people explain it away and they'll say like, oh, there's a gas leak, it's an old house, or this, that, and the other. But I'm fucking like, there are some things that happen that are fucking unexplainable. Like, nothing
I agree.
tangible, nothing real happens, but the crazy shit just goes off when you least expect it. Like, who would be outside in the middle of the night banging on a fucking garage door? Like, just the idea of that is fucking freaky. It's like, who would even be out there?
Exactly. I'm like, if there's somebody out there banging on the fucking door, then I'm like, what the fuck are you doing
Yeah. Like,
in our
call the fucking
house?
cops, dude.
Banging on the fucking doors. Literally, dude. But like I said, we had somebody else there with us. So if there was somebody that was like about to walk in the house, at least we would have somebody else there to help us. But nah, man, I think that that's like and then I mean, even as a kid, I feel like I experienced and I know that like your kid mind, like you can like you have like a big like imagination, but I would swear that like when my sister and we would sleep in the same room, and my sister would be freaked out and I would be freaked out, and I swear to God, I would see like two little red dots
Oh,
out in our like living room hallway, and I was just like, this is so fucking weird. And it would be like there's no light. My parents' bedroom is closed, the bathroom door is closed. There's nothing that would be like a source for these lights at all, period. And I think too, like, or where you experience something like a cold wind and it's like there's no AC, the AC's off, all the
yeah.
doors are closed, all the windows are closed. I definitely experienced that too, especially like not to like make it really personal or whatever, but my grandmother had passed away and I had never known, I don't really know either of my like grandparents, and like majority of them are passed on now. But it was, like, right after she had passed on that, like, I was just washing dishes, chilling. I was maybe, like, 11,
Mm.
12, maybe not even I'm 10, and I was chilling washing dishes, and a freaking, like, gust of air went in between my legs, and it's, like, again, of doors are shut, windows are closed, no
Yeah.
AC on, and it's like cold ass air flowing through like where I was wearing like a little sleeping shirt thing, and I was like, ugh. And I distinctly remember this because I fucking would hate to wash the fucking dishes, and I felt it and I was like, oh, I don't like that. And I think now I understand what that was.
Yeah, and you know what's fucking crazy about that? Like so many people are hardcore skeptics and they have these explanations for everything. My dad's like this. Like as soon as these type of conversations come up, he's like, this is fucking stupid, this, that, or the other. Why does every person without talking to each other about it, why does every person corroborate the story of cold air seemingly out of nowhere or significantly colder air than it used to be with paranormal experiences? Like, how has this become? Why does everybody corroborate that story when there's nothing to it? Like, it's so weird how that can just happen out of nowhere, and all of the paranormal stories have that as an aspect of it.
No, I agree. I think that it's definitely there's something to it. There's something to it for sure. But I think, like I said, my like scariest experience, and Casey will even tell you that she was there, was just, and I don't even think that we were gone from the house very long or something, but just a ton of fucking dead bees. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm like, this has to be some kind of, I don't know if there was like a ritual or some type of like, I don't know what it was,
Oh my
but
god.
like, just man,
Yeah, like
it
in
was so scary, dude. I'm like,
uh,
how the fuck did these bees get in here?
was this in Texas that this happened, or
Yes. Mhm.
the South? I live in the South, the Bible Belt.
Bro.
There are cults, and they do some fucking crazy stuff. Like I heard a story once. Like you could be traveling through the Bible Belt, and you could be stopping at a church to say get directions, and you could walk in on a cult meeting. They're like using the church in the middle of the week for a cult meeting.
Literally, bro.
That type of shit can happen even here, and it's like people think that it's such an old mentality, or like, oh, those people are phased out. They are not. They are alive and well, and they are the
No,
people
not
you would
at all.
least fucking expect. I'm not even kidding.
No, I believe it. And I think that that like area that we were living in, as a matter of fact, it was definitely an area where there was like native people for sure. And I think, maybe like whatever residual of things that had happened there, or like, Americans were really fucked up to native people. And I mean, like, again, in Texas,
Yep.
you
Especially.
can
Yes.
connect the dots.
Hmm.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, there's no way that that was like a natural thing. or a natural phenomenon. I'm telling you, to this day, I'm like, I have Googled shit trying to figure this out,
Yeah.
and it was very scary.
Yeah, I kind of got chills a little bit too, but it's like the fucking my favorite horror movie is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the reason is not because of, the gore or anything like that. It's like, though that situation could 100% happen, like in the back roads of fucking Texas, people who have literally not
Dude.
gone out to big cities in like 20, 30, 40 years, and they have whole families running on generators and shit. Like, you these people that are in cities, you guys have it really, really luxurious. You have it nice. But if you come to the South and you get off of like a crazy back road somewhere in like one of these smaller towns, you never know what the fuck you're gonna find. And it's the craziest thing. Like
Oh
I
no,
can even
man.
go I can go like 2 hours outside the city I live in now, and I could find one of these places, and there's a high likelihood that I could be shot like before I even greet, because like these people are just super defensive, and it's insane. Like it's a whole thing.
Yeah, dude. Even outside of like Austin, I feel like I have a friend that lives in what like Austin is just spreading and spreading and spreading and growing and growing. But they have like huge cemeteries and like huge like churches and communities of people that they've been living in that like we're not in the city, like y'all need to stay away
Yeah.
for like you said 20, 30, 40 years. And at this point that we're starting to like creep closer and closer to them, I'm like, do you guys think that this is like a good idea of like hanging around these people that they're like, don't really have not society, like civilization
Hmm.
stuff with each other, and everybody relies on each other, everybody knows who's who and what they're doing, and it's a scary,
It
I don't know.
is.
To me, I don't like it. Whenever I have to drive to go visit her, I get freaked out driving past these like all white churches and just it's so creepy.
There's a town in the state of Kentucky named Whitesburg. It is literally the most racist town you will ever see. I mean, it's in the fucking name. So I'm just sat there thinking like,
Oh my god.
that was one moment where I was like, I get what people talk about with privilege now. I can drive through this town and not be assaulted and not get my tires slashed if I park at like a gas station. It's fucked up that these types of places still exist, but it's like, it's
Real.
backwoods, and it just is what it is. It's like it's just one of those unfortunate fucking realities of the world.
Yeah, definitely. It's like I think my family and I at one point we were traveling to Georgia from Texas, and we stopped at a McDonald's in Mississippi, and everybody was like, "What the fuck? Who are these brown people in
Yeah.
my McDonald's?"
Yeah, it's
While they're
crazy.
like eating their food, and I'm like, I just I just want my McChicken, dude.
Yeah, dude, I'm just
But
I'm
yeah,
just here to get
and
a double quarter
that's why
pounder,
these
man.
places are fucking haunted, dude.
Yeah, it's fucking
Period. I'm
wild.
like, dude, no, they're haunted as fuck. When you have like really evil, like bad fucking people doing bad, evil shit, I feel like there's no way that that energy just leaves. Cause you're like, oh, well, we built over it and it's gone now.
Yeah,
Nah.
and you can definitely feel that. Like, people talk about, oh, it's just mumbo jumbo with like energies and stuff. Like, no, when you meet somebody and they have like, they just have that sort of darkness in them, or they have these beliefs that are instilled
Bad
in them,
fucking vibes.
you can fucking feel it from the moment you first start to talk to them. I can't explain it. It's almost like a sixth sense type thing. I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to claim that I have one, but it's definitely something that like you can tell if you're really checked into how they're talking, how they're behaving, and what they put out. Like it's so obvious, and it's fucking crazy how that feels.
Real. Real
Casey
as fuck,
said
bro.
you
I
came with.
felt it in that Mississippi McDonald's.
Yeah, I tell you, you go to some places in the Bible Belt, and I guess it'd
Oh
be like the
yeah.
Appalachian area, and you'll definitely be able to tell. Um, so Casey
And
said
I'm
she.
lucky that I've already like oh,
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Oh, I'm lucky that I like am pretty light skinned and like I don't speak with an accent and I come off the way that I come off. And So I don't typically people ask me, they're like, "Oh, what are you mixed with?" And I'm like, "I'm not mixed with anything. I'm just brown, just,
Yeah.
a light shade of it." And so I'm lucky that I get saved from some of that, like, I guess what people call white passing.
Mhm.
Um Sometimes I don't even get bothered because of it, and so I just yeah, no. It's a scary thing to be just, "I'm just trying to fucking pass through," and you're literally like Casey said in Louisiana, where you're like, "You just don't stop here,
Yep.
even if you are having the privilege of being white."
Yeah, there's a lot of people who don't want you around their property and they are not afraid to tell you that. And sometimes it's whole towns that have like powerful families that have just been there generation to generation and they don't like tourists, they don't like outsiders. It's fucking crazy. It's like you would expect to see something like this in like the 1950s or 60s or something, but they're still alive and well.
I mean, but they had, I can never remember, is it 7? Resident Evil 7, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the
The
family
whole
in
the
Louisiana.
village? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, there's a reason why there's media about this.
Yeah.
There's real shit that happens to base the media off of.
Um So I kind of wanted to tell a quick paranormal experience of my own because it aligns very
Yes,
closely
yes.
to the one that you said about hearing noises late at night. Um, we first moved to the city that I'm living in now back in 2019. Winter had just passed and it was starting to warm up. And my roommate at the time, who's one of my mods, Iron Tusk, it was me, my girlfriend Bridget, and him living in an apartment. And he said he was going to go visit some family. So he left at like 7 p.m., right as it was getting dark. And we both just went to bed, didn't think anything, it was like whatever. And then I wake up, I swear to God, at the fucking crack of 3 a.m. Like I wake up and on the fucking dot, my phone says 3 a.m. And I hear pots and pans moving around in the kitchen and I hear cabinets opening and closing. And I thought so little about it. I was like, oh, he must not have left, or like maybe, they rescheduled or something like that. And I just messaged him really quick, like, oh, you didn't go visit them just yet? And he responded like instantly. He's like, no, I'm in another state. He's like, I'm laying on their couch right now. What are you
Ah!
talking about? And immediately I got that full body, oh fuck feeling. Like
Oh,
it was
shit.
just like chest dropped to the floor. And I like got up and slowly went to our bedroom door to lock it. And I called 911 immediately because I was so convinced that someone was in the apartment. Like there was no question about whether or not someone was. Someone was absolutely in the apartment. I woke Bridget up and I told her what was going on. So the cop showed up, to his credit, in like 5 minutes. He was there super fast and he called my cell phone and he was basically like, dude, he's like, whoever's in the apartment, like just come to the door as quick as you can. Like I'll deal with it if you can get the door open. So he knocked twice, and it was literally, it felt like this could be like the fucking end of everything. Like I got that feeling of like slow motion, like because if there's somebody here and they have a knife or a gun and they just decide to fucking use it. I opened the door, there was nobody. And I opened the door for the cop. He had a flashlight, one of those huge mag lights. He looked everywhere, nobody. So I can't explain it. I don't know what the fuck happened. We had no pets at the time. Bridget still remembers it just as vividly as I do. But something I do remember about that time is a couple days before that, a friend from Pennsylvania had given me a movie called A Perfect Child of Satan. And it's a movie by a director named Lucifer Valentine. And do you know about the whole 3 a.m. being like the devil's hour type thing?
Yeah, the witching hour or
Yep.
whatever. Yeah.
So the day that he gave me that DVD, I had it sitting on our kitchen counter. And that night, when I fell asleep, I had a dream that my kitchen, or not my kitchen, I had a dream that my closet was burning. There's like a really strong burning smell coming from it. And I was like, the fuck is that? So then I woke up and the DVD was in there. And I didn't move it. Nobody seems to know who moved it. So,
God.
yeah.
Nah, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Ooh, girl.
Yeah. Thankfully, we're not in that apartment anymore,
No.
but those were two of my absolute worst experiences that I've ever had.
Yeah, I think too, just to add on one extra one, but like the salon that I was working in previously, I swear to God it was haunted. I swear to God, because I would be working in the back cleaning tools and you just get that feeling of that somebody's looking at you
Yep.
or somebody's watching you. I would always get that feeling. And I would hate to have my back turned to the hallway because I would be like cleaning in the sink. You know, a sink is typically in front of the wall. So you'd
Yeah.
have your back facing whatever. And I would go to do whatever I need to do in the sink and I would turn to my right because I was like, nah, I want to make sure that I am seeing what's
Hmm.
going on behind me. And I swear on everything, bro. We had these like little containers that you would put your dirty tools in.
Yeah.
And I swear that literally some of them would move. I would like run to the front and be like, hi, like, what's up? Ooh. And then I would run back to go do whatever I need to do. And shit would be like shifted around. I swear
Yeah.
to God.
Oh, that being watched feeling is the worst, especially I don't know, most salons that I've seen are like in these plazas where the window itself, like you can see out into the parking lot. So if it's late at night and you feel like somebody's watching you, that's like, oh, fuck that. Yeah. Fuck
Dude,
that.
no. The salon that we were in was an old house. It was an
Hmm.
old
Okay.
house of somebody's. So I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that they would do in that house.
Yeah.
And we had a really creepy alley that was behind there that like several crimes occurred in, like to the point where the owners gifted us pepper spray and tasers. So
Wow.
I'm like, I don't know if you ever heard about like the theory that like people go crazy around like haunted areas and like do a
Hmm.
bunch of crimes and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So I'm like, I fully believe that there was something going on in that house for real.
Jesus. Gifting someone pepper spray. It's like, wow, that really inspires confidence. I am safe here. This is a safe work
Yeah,
environment,
dude.
Tiki.
Oh man. Crazy ass place.
So this is something I don't know if you have seen, or I'm sure you know. I'm sure everybody's heard about this. Have you heard about the whole Gypsy Rose thing? How she's out of jail now?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I kind of wanted to pivot really quick. I don't know if you are into or know about, some of the more plausible conspiracy theories. Obviously, we're not here to talk about like flat earth or any of that nonsense, but have you
Nah.
seen have you seen the theory that her husband looks exactly like her mom?
I've heard about it, yeah. But I haven't really like looked at photos of her mom and the husband together.
Here,
So,
I'll pull one up and I'll put it in our Discord chat and then I'll also show it to chat. It is
okay.
fucking insane. If you just search Gypsy Rose husband, the first autofill result is mom, husband and mom. And the photo is just fucked, dude. It's crazy how similar they look. It
That's
literally looks like,
crazy.
yeah, it literally looks like her husband is her mom in like a bodysuit of some kind. Let me see.
That's freaky. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I'm praying for that girl.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, so
Because I
here.
feel like, oh, go ahead. Go
No, you're
ahead.
fine. Go ahead.
I feel like that whole there it's just like very I'm like, damn, the TikTokification of like this girl like had her ex-boyfriend murder her mom and you guys are like interviewing her asking her about like what's your favorite Taylor Swift song? And I'm just like uh, do we not
Yeah,
is like, maybe a little bit of like seriousness to this, a little
yeah, a little just degree of not, you know, it's not like kidifying it, but it's like making light of the situation, I feel like, in a lot of ways. So check this out, you guys. I'm just going to show this for a second, but take a look at that. Is that not fucking bizarre? Like that
oh
resemblance
my
is
god.
pretty
Ooh.
crazy, dude. Like same facial features, like the lines around the mouth, especially.
The, like, nose,
Yeah.
it's, like, coming out to oh my god.
Yeah. And when I
Yeah,
saw that, I
no.
was like, what the fuck? Because, there's that whole thing that they talk about with Stockholm syndrome with her of like, she was super attached to her mom. And
Right.
a lot of people are like, well, they haven't released photos of like the crime scene. So maybe she didn't actually, maybe that was just a way for them to like get out of the situation they were in, and sending her to jail was just like a kind of her taking the fall for it. I don't know. But it's one of those that
That's
I
so
saw.
absurd.
Yeah, it's one of those conspiracy theories that I saw that I was like, wow, there's actually a little bit of plausibility to this. Like, this could fucking be a thing.
Oh my god, that's insane. Oh my god.
I know. Yeah,
Ugh.
that
That's
freaked me
so
the fuck
creepy
out
though
too.
that they look so alike.
Yeah. So, in that same
Ugh.
vein, are there any that you have heard about recently, or are there any that you have known about in your life that you actually think, you know what, there might be a little bit of validity to that? It may not be just like conspiracy nuts with tinfoil hats on.
Um, honestly, not really. And I know that makes me sound so boring, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like in a way I'm kind of a believer in like what is the simplest explanation tends to be the actual explanation.
Hmm.
So, I mean, like I believe in aliens and ghosts and shit. So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like, I guess the most like plausible thing that I guess I could believe in is like, I guess kind of maybe sort of like stuff like this, where like people that look very, very similar to like celebrity, like the whole celebrity clone shit.
Mm,
Or like
yeah,
the
yeah.
other day when you were showing us the like people like glitching out, like I could totally see that like being like a thing where like I know that it could be explained away with like drugs or whatever, but I'm like sometimes these people like the one of Shaq, I feel like was the most absurd. Like
Just
where for
frozen.
almost like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, just and I'm like, are you what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's hard to wrap my mind around like the whole like they made a clone, but I'm like at the same time, there's people that look very similar to one another walking around everywhere.
Yeah, like another part of that I've heard is like
So who knows?
sometimes celebrities just want like a body double that looks super similar to them, and they'll like have them wear sunglasses so that the celebrity doesn't have to be in the hypothetical line of fire. Like Michael Jackson had this experience where he was never able to just go to a grocery store and just shop. So they rented out like a whole ass grocery store, and they had his friends and family play the strangers so that he could have that experience. It's like sometimes that I could find a little bit plausible. Is like celebrities hate being followed around in big crowds and shit, and they're like, I just need to find somebody who looks similar enough to me and just have them wear like sunglasses so it's obvious, so it's not super obvious, and then that way I can kind of sneak through these big crowds of crazed people, without to be a little bit more nondescript about it.
Yeah, no. See, and that's what I mean, but I'm like, that feels like such a simple explanation to the like, oh, there's a clone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Have you heard about Faustian bargains with celebrities, or do you know what that is?
No, I don't know what that is. No.
So David Dobrik actually went on a podcast and talked about this, but the general idea of it is like you basically trade fame and money and notoriety for either someone or something. So like they'll have you. Now this is all alleged. Let me just be clear. Okay, this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not making any allegations. I'm just
Okay,
saying
right.
what's out
Yeah.
there. Just want to put that disclaimer out. So the idea is like you can be a comedian, you can be a famous artist, you can be signed to a major label, and we can have you number one on the radio tomorrow, but you have to give us X family member, or you have to take out some person. That's what the way that the theory goes. And there's actually a crazy amount of very famous musical artists and actors who have had very young people in their families pass away completely unexpectedly and in just the most absurd circumstances imaginable. And people are like, there's something weird going on here with like just the sheer amount of it that's out there.
Oh my God. I've never heard of that. I mean, what I've heard of is actually, funnily enough, Doja Cat
Mhm.
that she started like she shaved her head, she shaved her like eyebrows off, and she changed her whole like style. in order to do humiliation rituals for the Illuminati or
Yeah.
whatever to get her more and more success. And I'm like, but like not to discredit my girl or anything, but I'm like, the last album didn't do, like, as crazy. I mean, given we were not all trapped inside of our houses,
Yeah.
like the last time we were when she dropped an album, but it didn't, like, pop off as crazy as the last one did. So, I'm like, "Where's the validity to this?"
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but I've, like, also seen, Selena Gomez, she started dating some guy, his name is Benny Blanco, and
Mhm.
he looks like a homeless man. And people are saying that this is a humiliation ritual for her.
Yeah, and kind of like what you said with Doja Cat, that kind of, I like to see both sides, and that kind of shoots a hole in it. It's like if this person did, you know, agree to sign on with the Illuminati, however that whole process allegedly goes, like, wouldn't their stuff be like number one? Wouldn't they be like the biggest artist on the planet? Like,
Exactly.
wouldn't they like, because we already know who controls like the radio. It's people like Simon Cowell. It's people like Jimmy Ivy, people like L.A. Reid, these big music execs that can just throw a bunch of money at like Power 100 in LA and say, yeah, play this track all day. And that way everybody hears it and they're like, oh shit, who is that? Like whoever controls the radio waves controls the charts. Period. End of story. Even now. So it's like, obviously there's going to be some corruption involved, but it's like, if you're offering somebody up, it's like, bitch, I better be number one. I'm not offering anybody up if I'm not number one.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like there would be way, way, way more people being like superstar overnight successes
Yeah.
than I feel like we experience now.
Yeah, there's and some of the deaths are really strange too. Like Prince, I don't know if you were a big Prince fan, but he okay, so he has a famous song called I Would Die For You. It's the number 4 and the letter U. Well, U is the
Mhm.
21st letter of the alphabet, and he died 4/21, 2016. He died in an
Oh my
elevator,
god.
and he has a song called Let's Go Crazy,
Oh,
where at
that's
the end
right.
he says, don't let the elevator bring us down. It's the devil. And people who knew him, like L.A. Reid, went on a news show and he was like, yeah, he was always talking about elevators and he was always saying elevators are the devil, and he ends up dying in one. Like, what? That's so crazy.
That gave me a little bit of a chill. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
it's
That's
it's
so
it's
bizarre.
fucking wild, man. Like some of the stuff, like, yeah, a lot of it is coincidental. Like we were talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the director Toby Hooper. He died when he was 74 years old, and that was the same year that Hurricane Irma happened. And after he died, they ran a story on the news about a 74-year-old nun with a chainsaw cleaning up after Hurricane Irma. And she's using the same orange chainsaw that was in the movie. So if you look up nun with a chainsaw, Hurricane Irma, you'll see a shot that looks very similar to a shot of Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's fucking crazy, man. And when I saw that, I'm like, what? Like, why would they run this particular story now after the director of such a movie passed away? Like, that is so fucking weird to me, man.
Oh my god. Just it's again of like this is a very specific coincidence
I
to
know. Yeah.
experience.
So I don't
So I
know.
can totally understand why people go to like this is a conspiracy and there's a ton of people like behind the scenes pulling the strings, and that's it. Just I've never heard of that, and that's kind of like um
Yeah. I mean,
what?
that, and those are the rabbit holes I don't recommend going down, because good God, like you can so easily fall into those that you completely lose sight of like your day-to-day shit. So I let me just say
Oh
as a
my god,
PSA,
yeah.
don't do what I did. Don't sit there and Google that type of shit 24/7. Like some of them are in the realm of plausibility, and there's like a Venn diagram of like the insane fucking ones and then the ones that could actually be real and like have to do with corruption and stuff. But it's like, just don't jump down the rabbit holes. That is never going to end well.
Nah, I don't I no. I feel like I'm just like, "Oh my god, I don't want that to be real." So I
Yeah.
just avoid them.
Yeah, and it's easier because you got to focus on yourself and your family and all that stuff. So you can't really lend too much credence to that stuff anyway. Oh yeah, John Lang. Yeah, Freak Six is talking about John Lang. So this is a guy who basically he was doing a story on his local police department about corruption that was happening, and they targeted him. Like he has security camera footage of them targeting him, and like every day they would send people in like these weird unmarked like cleaning vans, and they would like bring out a bunch of
Ooh.
thermal cameras, and they were like looking into his house and all kinds of crazy stuff. And he has a YouTube channel documenting all of this. And the last one was basically they were talking about like a game plan to go inside his house and take him out, and that's exactly what happened. Like they say that something crazy like he committed suicide by
Yes,
stabbing himself in the
I
back.
heard of that.
Yeah, it's like,
Yes, I heard of that.
yeah, it's fucking
Oh
crazy.
God.
And
See
his,
that type of stuff? Yeah, no, I believe that.
yeah, his whole YouTube channel's still up too. It's like he challenged the authority, and he dared to like question them, and he got, it's crazy. Like again, I don't know exactly what went down. I'm just saying that YouTube channel is still up. It has a lot of videos on it. And if you were to follow it from start to finish, like look, for all we know, it could have just been done to circulate some like news for his publication. I don't fucking know. All I know is there's some crazy shit that went down, and it's all documented on that channel. That's all I know.
Interesting, interesting. I see.
But yeah, so I mean that's some food for thought, certainly. Hopefully, you know, you don't lose any sleep over some of the crazy stuff that we've talked about tonight.
Oh
But
no. I have like a 2-hour flight tomorrow. Maybe I can like download some stuff to listen to or watch during the flight. That's given me a couple little things that'll be cool to check out.
so with that being said, I have you shouted out. Are you streaming right now?
Yeah, I am actually.
All right, awesome. So I think the game plan is going to be we are going to go ahead and raid you if you plan to continue streaming, or if you just wanted to kind of talk about the show a little bit more. And I wanted to say to
Okay.
you, is there anything else you kind of wanted to cover before we wrap up here?
I mean, not really. I feel like we kind of ran the gamut of like fun stuff to chat about, like Twitch and streaming and like discovering a couple of like common threads between us too during our conversation was pretty sick. And, like stuff about nails and like things like that. So I think that was I think like I said, we ran the gamut pretty well.
Yeah, I think it was awesome. And you know, part of this is you know, kind of discovering other people's just pathways in life and how they got to be on Twitch. Because I know a lot of other content creators on Twitch, but your guys' style is so different than mine. So my favorite thing to do is to learn from everybody. I try to just absorb, like, just learn what makes people's content worth watching, and kind of see like how things are different and how things differ like from person to person, their personalities. So it's been a blast talking, and I did just want to
Aw,
say I
same.
really appreciate you coming on and being the first guest. That's what's so fucking awesome about this. The first guest ever on this show, and we will have more in the future. But with that being said, everybody drop at Pinku Idol a follow. Now the message is pinned, but I'm going to go ahead and shout out again, and we are going to go
Thank
ahead
you.
and send her a raid. So I want to say again, thank you, and I'm sure we'll be talking very soon. Also, good luck on your flight. Hope everything goes well, and we'll be in
It
touch.
will. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Stamp. It's been great. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I'm going to send my people your way. So stay tuned for that. Just a sec. All right. I'm sorry, She. Let me just go ahead and say